Welcome to the Tim Runs His Mouth podcast. I'm Tim Young, hanging out in my bourbon room where I like to sit and talk about politics. There's not really anywhere else I want to sit and talk about politics. If I sit and go anywhere else, I don't have booze on the handy, ready to go, just in case things get a little too iffy. I have self-control problems. Let's just put it that way. I want to talk about a bunch of stuff with you today, but first I want to thank our sponsor. We have one. It's really good. CigarsDirect.com. That's the Cigars Direct website right there. You can get all sorts of crazy stuff on CigarsDirect.com. All of the top brands you can see right there. The cigars of the year from 2022, they've got them all. They've got limited stuff. They've got basically anything you could possibly want cigar-wise. It's where I get my stuff from, and that's why I'm so happy for them to be a sponsor of the Tim Runs His Mouth podcast. CigarsDirect.com. They always have hot deals. I'm just going to give you a tour around here. Look at this. They've got all the crazy deals going on right now. You can see that. The #1 cigar. They've got their Buffalo Trace. You've got everything you could possibly want and free shipping on orders over $99. So that's not a bad .com. I would do it. That's where I get my stuff from. I'm Tim Young. I'm your host of Tim Runs His Mouth, and I'm here to talk to you about all the garbage that's happening in politics today, and there's a lot of it. So where do we begin? I don't know. There was a crazy shooting the other day in Maine. I didn't think I'd be affected by it, honestly. I know that it hurts everyone, and it sucks to be an American when this stuff happens. It makes you feel bad. It just makes you feel bad. You feel bad for the families. You feel bad that our law enforcement, who's busy watching parents at school board meetings, aren't out there trying to actually capture bad guys when they, of course, always know about these bad guys. But something happened that was really interesting to me the other day when it comes to this. And that's I got a call just before midnight, right after this happened, the shooting. The bodies weren't even cold yet. I was informed that the psychopath who committed the murders had liked my tweets, and maybe I should get ahead of the story because my name was apparently being dropped around major media organizations. And I told my friend to F off and that I didn't care because I think that murder is abhorrent. Obviously, I don't think that people should be killing anyone anyway. And when has the media looked into other psychopaths, especially people who don't fit the narrative? This guy fit the narrative, by the way. Other psychopaths' social media accounts. When have they looked into, say, I don't know, the trans Nashville shooters' social media account? When did they look into? Remember the minivan that went out and drove through the Christmas parade? Remember, it was an SUV. Sorry, it was a self-driving SUV because we never heard about this guy ever again. Pretty sure he was Muslim. He drove through a Christmas parade, and they made that story just whoosh, disappear. The media won't look into those people, but they'll look into anybody who might fit the narrative. I mean, every weekend in Chicago, more people are shot and killed than were shot and killed in Maine. And look, every death is a tragedy. It's all horrible. But when you take a look at it, why are we not looking into, I don't know, the music they're listening to? Who those people, like, who did they vote for? Did they vote for the Democrat mayor there, and now they're shooting people? Huh. Why aren't we connecting those two? Why is it only right-wing people? And so I explained this to my friend after I told him to F off. And he goes, oh, that's an interesting story. Maybe I should pitch it to my bureau. And I go, pitch it to your bureau? Why isn't it already there? Why are you looking into my stuff? Why are you looking into there just happens to be a white, potentially right-wing shooter, and you're only looking into his social media and trying to ostracize those people. But nothing that happens on the left? That's bullshit. It's total bullshit. I told my buddy that. I told him I was like, you need a quote from me for this guy. Like, he can go burn in hell, which apparently he is right now. But I'm just absolutely exhausted. Totally exhausted. My phone's going off in the middle of this. Anyway, don't they know that I'm taping a podcast? I'm exhausted by the fact that the left controls the media, the corporate media, basically everything. And what isn't fully left is pretty close to it. Let's be real here. That's why you take a look at things on certain channels that used to be conservative or considered conservative, and they just aren't. But these people control the narrative, and they want to make the narrative that it was a right-wing nut job. There are tons of left-wing nut jobs. I also went and told my buddy, I get about 1 billion likes on my social media every year. I mean, I'm not trying to brag there. It just happens. I don't know why. I'm glad that you guys do. If you follow me on social media, I'm glad that you're a part of it. But out of those 1 billion likes, I'm sure there's lots of criminals that like my stuff. Just like I'm sure, like, of, I don't know, like Taylor Swift's likes. I'm sure there's lots of women who torture their cats at home. I don't know. You know, there was a bomber at an Ariana Grande concert. Did they look into that person's social media? Nope, they didn't. Like, where's the line going to be drawn? Where do we draw the line? Where do people in all of this get accountability? Because the concept here, again, this comes from the left. And the left are the people who say that basically guns are the ones that are killing people, not the people who pull the trigger. And words are violence. Remember, words are violence, guys. That's what they're shooting for here. No pun intended. Is to make sure that I and other people like myself, including you at home, will be silenced if they can connect you to anything at all that's negative. Especially something as dramatic as that and something as terrible as that. And so when I hear this story and when I get it pitched to me, of course, I say lots of, I swear a lot. I'm not going to do it here. I'll try not to do it here. I'm not going to no promises. I swear a lot when it comes to this stuff. But in this instance, I went off. I absolutely went off. I had no tolerance for it. There's absolutely a double standard. And we're allowing these people to control the media. Their concept, if they can link murders and death to you criticizing the left, is to silence you or at least make you feel more guilty about posting things on social media. That'll never happen to me. But it's my job to do that. It's a big part of my career to post on social media. It's a big part of my career to talk about my not liking the Biden administration and all the garbage that they're doing. So they won't influence me to stop. But say it's one of you and your regular job. Say you're a teacher or law enforcement or anything like that. And they can link you to, because somebody liked your tweets, to a crime? Because somebody liked your tweets, they're trying to have causation between that and that? You may not have that much of an option. You might feel like the world is against you. But I'm telling you right now, you need to stand up for your rights and you need to do what I do, which is totally ignore it, maybe say a few swear words. If you don't cuss, you might want to start. If you don't drink, you might want to start too. No, it's a whole other thing. But if you're frustrated by this, you should be. And I'm talking about my experience because it can happen to you. And that article was on American Greatness. If you want to read more about it, I'll show you. This is fantastic. That I have my computer here. I just like hanging out. And that's what I think is really fun about this podcast, is that I can pull up. There we go. I'm going to pull up my article for you. And there you go. The corrupt media tried to implicate me in a mass shooting because a psychopath liked my tweets. So if you want to go read the full article, I would recommend you go do that on American Greatness. Again, I have lots of articles up there. I'm always commenting on things. I have lots of things to say. I'm always running my mouth. I want you guys to really assess what happened here. I want you guys to really take a look at what's going on and what the media is trying to do. Because what they're trying to do is silence you. They're trying to silence me. They need to go after me first because I have 1.5 million followers or whatever it is on social media. I do keep track of it. I have a mental problem. But they want to go after me first. They want to silence me first because I'm a bigger fish. And then they'll come after you as a smaller fish. And they've already come after you. I mean, if you've spoken out at school board meetings, if you've gone to city council meetings, they're probably already watching you. I mean, look, the DOJ not too long ago listed parents who spoke out at school board meetings as domestic terrorists. They want to silence you. They want to stop you. This is very much so a cultural revolution we're in. This is Marxism. They're trying to shut down. Communism. It's every other terrible government. Every terrible government in history has tried to shut down any kind of opposition speaking out against them. And this is no different. So I want you to be prepared for that. And I want you to be ready to stand up. You're no different than me. You're no different than those people who are trying to stop you. You're no different than the people in the media. You're no different than the elected officials. Actually, you're probably smarter than a lot of those people. It's time for you to stand up, and it's time for you to not tolerate the media narrative. The media narrative, I can say that. It's important that you do that. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on, and I want to talk about a lot of things that are happening here. One of the most shocking things to me is the election of the new Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, who I'm going to try to pull up a picture of here. I should have this prepared. You'd think I'd be ready for this. I'm not. There we go. And that's Mike Johnson. Now, I'll be real honest with you. I don't typically laugh at SNL, but he does look like, their first comment the other day was that he does look like a combination of all the MSNBC hosts put together. He looks like he's an AI generated person. And the third joke that they made on SNL the other night is that Mike Johnson is a name that people just filled in because they wanted the speaker election to get over with, and they didn't know who to vote for. They just made up a name, Mike Johnson, and ended up being a member of Congress. I've never heard of him. I don't know where this goes. I don't know I know nothing about him. And you know, I could pretend, and there are a lot of like social media influencers and people out there and pundits that pretend that they know a lot of his work. No. Myself, my friend Steve Deace, a lot of people have no clue where Mike Johnson came from. We know that he was on Trump's defense team. Great. I know that he spiked the football when Trump was acquitted. There's a video of him in front of Nancy Pelosi's office with the Trump acquitted newspaper, and he holds it down and smiles. I think it's great. But I want to see what he does. And his first act is sending money to Israel for war. So to me, that's not America first. I know that Israel is our ally. I know that we should be defending them. I know that Hamas is bad. But why are we not again, you can make that a second vote. Why not the first vote be a Biden impeachment, moving it to the floor of the House? Where's that Biden impeachment coming, by the way? Where's it coming? Every week. I'm tired of, look, I can literally look up on social media, and I should do this, actually. I'll do this, again, because this is a new podcast. I want to go through all the things with you. I'm going to pull up my screen, and I'm going to go Biden new evidence. I'm going to search for that on X. There's James Comer has new evidence, a jigsaw puzzle with a lot of pieces. John Solomon and Amanda Head talking about it. Here's Congressman Byron Donald saying when investigating Biden family corruption, prosecutors were stonewalled by elements of FBI DOJ. Okay, that's great. Andy Biggs, new alarming evidence reveals the CCP's influence on American K-12 schools. The Biden administration must combat China's presence. Again, there's just nonstop stuff. And right now, apparently, Jamie Raskin said something as a Democrat, but there's nonstop new evidence that keeps coming out. James Comer, in fact, here, if I put in Comer Biden new evidence. Over 700 pieces of new evidence from IRS whistleblowers. Okay, there's Miranda Devine. That's less than a month ago. FBI briefed to Comer Monday on evidence of Biden bribery scandal. Okay, there we go. That's it. Until now, Joe Biden could always claim only people involved in this were my son, my brother, and other family members. A new representative discusses new evidence released Friday by House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer that reveals Biden financially benefited from his family's business dealings. Okay, great. That's great. Where's the impeachment? I'm tired of dangling the carrot in front of voters. I'm tired of this back and forth. Republicans said they were going to impeach Biden on day one. They did not. And they keep coming up with more and more evidence. I'm tired of seeing it. And again, I just showed you that. That was just very brief of like sliding through. And if you're listening to this, of course, the audio, it's better to watch it than listen to it. I'm going to try to show you things as we go along. There's more and more evidence of Biden's corruption. So where is the impeachment? When's it coming? And at this point, I no longer have faith in the Republican Party, especially the House GOP, to move forward with it, especially when you have Mike Johnson starting by sending money overseas rather than doing something at home to take care of our United States of America. Where is it? Where's the help coming from the House GOP? Where's the impeachment? The Democrats could impeach Trump for less, and they did impeach Trump for less, and they impeached him faster. Republicans aren't moving on it because they're busy making money off of it, and they're not going to. They're just not. It's not coming. And I've totally lost faith. If I see an impeachment before 2024, I'd be shocked, but we're not going to. We're just going to see a lot of dangling a carrot for you to give more and more money to them, and nothing's going to happen. So I'm just tired of it. I don't want to hear it anymore. I don't want to see it from these guys. I don't give a shit about new evidence. I'm tired of new evidence. I don't need new evidence. You have enough evidence. You have piles and piles of evidence. They have more evidence than, if you could see my bourbon wall right here, they have more evidence than my bourbon wall. And I have a lot of bourbon. Wish I could turn the camera for you, but I'm filming by myself today. They have more evidence than I have bottles of bourbon on Joe Biden. And they have yet to impeach the guy. So what the hell is happening? Other than them fundraising, I'm tired of it. Strongly worded letters, committee hearings, Fox News hits, fundraising. That's what they do. That's all these Republicans in Congress do, and I'm tired of it. It's inaction. I don't understand what we're paying them for. I don't understand why they're there. Maybe you guys know something. If you do, put it in the comments. Respond to me. You can email me, tim@timyoung.com. I want to hear from you, but I just think it's totally worthless at this point. I think it's a totally worthless effort. I can't even to have hope to believe in the GOP right now. I think is just I don't even know why I would waste my time. Truly, I don't know why I would waste my time. All right, I want to show you a couple of other things here. There was actually a victory yesterday, which is a rare one, for the state of Texas. I'm going to show you this. Texas gets a major win in battle to secure border despite Biden admin's attempts to stop it. Again, a lawsuit brought by Texas says federal officials cut razor wire to let 300 migrants cross illegally. A federal judge on Monday ordered the Biden administration to stop cutting razor wire on fences along the southern border in Texas meant to stop illegal migrant crossings. Okay. That's all I want to talk about there. I want to show you that because I want you to put this into perspective. The President of the United States and his administration, all of which were sworn to defend the United States and the Constitution of the United States, are actually physically opening up our border. The state of Texas has sent their rangers, has sent all of their forces to the border to try to protect the border. It took Greg Abbott a while, let's be real, to get them down there. But they've sent their reinforcements down there and reinforced the border and put down razor wire and then try to put up barricades. And the Biden administration has been removing it. They have been removing these blockages. I want you to think about that for a second. It's treasonous. How are you sworn to defend the Constitution and the United States, and you literally open up our border? You literally are getting in the way of protecting our border and allowing illegal immigrants to just freely cross in. How could you do that unless you're intentionally doing it and intentionally trying to harm America? These people know what they're doing. They're not stupid. They are allowing criminals to cross the border. Illegal immigrants, it's right there. They're allowing criminals to break the law and enter this country. They are not asylum seekers. I don't give a shit what they label them. Asylum seekers would stay in the next country over from where they're coming from, but they're coming from overseas. They're coming way past Mexico. They could stop in Mexico if they were asylum seekers. They are not asylum seekers. They are illegal immigrants. They are terrorists, and they are people coming here to destroy America. Period. Period. Which goes along with today, FBI Director Christopher Wray is in front of Congress, and you just have to see this clip. You just have to see this because it's insane to me. I'm going to pull it up. See if I can get the audio up on this. Christopher Wray shows up to Congress and says, we don't have a secure border, and we're not safe, and these are dangerous times, and we need to be vigilant. What is happening? Hopefully you can hear this.
What has now increased is the greater possibility of one of these foreign terrorist organizations directing an attack in the United States. We haven't seen evidence that it's actually happening yet, but what we have seen is, and I listed them off in my opening remarks, one terrorist organization after another calling for attacks. And
we should wake up.
It is a time to be concerned. We are in a dangerous period.
So is the FBI able to track all threats and prevent these individuals from conducting an attack on U.S. soil?
I couldn't say that we were able to detect all individuals. With the people that we know about, as Secretary Rumsfeld used to say, the known, we're quite good at together with our partners. But it is the unknown that I worry about quite a bit.
So you have the FBI director testifying in front of Congress that they don't know what's going on, that there's an unknown. There are millions of people crossing the southern border. They won't shut it down. But he says these are dangerous times and they can't track everyone. They sure can track parents who speak out at school board meetings. They sure could send 15 agents to take a look at Bubba Wallace's NASCAR garage for a rope that was hanging in the garage, a pulley, because he said it was my racism. But they can't defend the border. They're not defending the border. They're telling Americans they have no idea what's going on. I feel less safe, and everyone else should feel less safe than what they do or they did over the last 4 years. We are currently in we are screwed mode. You've got literally the FBI director now saying, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I mean, we know some of the bad guys. We track some of the bad guys, but what good is that? Let's go back to the first thing that I talked about today. And I know it was about me because they were trying to connect me to a terrible mass shooting. But they say that they've really got the known down. No, they don't. Every time there's a terrible shooting, they know of that person and they do nothing to stop them. They catch them afterwards. They don't monitor them enough. So don't tell me that we should be safe. We should feel safe with the known. They're killing us too. So we've got the known that the FBI won't go after, that they afterwards go, oh, we were aware of the suspect and that he had all these mental health issues, blah, 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 blah. They let that happen. And now they're saying there's a large unknown because the wide open southern border is just allowing anybody to cross over. Nobody's paying attention. Nobody's doing anything. And when you look at those groups of people, the caravans of people coming across the border, they're always young men. They're never families. They are never families. We're screwed. We are screwed. That's insane. But at least we have the Republican Party to betray us at the same time. I want to show you. So Lindsey Graham, who just loves, I mean, that guy loves war more than just, more than I love bourbon. I haven't even drank this yet. Hold on, I need to grab a drink. The Lindsey Graham loves war more than anybody else. When everything broke out, anytime anything breaks out, he wants more money for Ukraine. I was going to say Iraq. He wants to bomb everything, including Iran. He wants to start World War III. That guy he gets off to tough men in war. Maybe weak men. Who even knows? Just men in general. That Lindsey Graham, let me tell you, Ladybugs Graham gets really, really into this stuff. And my phone is going off. He went over with a bipartisan group of senators to Tel Aviv once everything broke out in Israel. He couldn't wait to get over there on the taxpayer dime. Of course, you got to do that. You know, when you're a senator, when you're a House of Representative member, you got to just fly around on the people's dime. First class. I'm sure he had his martini or his margaritas or whatever he has when he flies over there. And he had a press conference where he's like, "We're all here for our photo op." Well, he didn't say photo op, but it was a photo op. We're all here for our photo op with Israel to say, thumbs up, Israel. We like taking pictures in front of war zones. And he was asked by David Cohen, I believe. I want to pull this story up. Newsmax. You can tell this is professionally run here. So he's asked by, when he's trying to present himself as this bipartisan man. I'm not going to pay for Mediaite. He's asked by Daniel Cohen, sorry, not David Cohen, Daniel Cohen, about Rashida Tlaib, her disgusting pro-Hamas propaganda that she shares on her Twitter. What they're going to do about that. And his response was, get this guy out of here. I believe I have the video. I want to see if I have this here. I should have it. Let's go to the old. I've really got it put together. Let me tell you something. Here you go. Here is Lindsey Graham yelling at Daniel Cohen, get this guy out of here, when he's questioned about Rashida Tlaib. It's remarkable.
Cohen, I'm the Jerusalem correspondent for Newsmax. I want to say thank you for being here. My family lives here. I made Aliyah 2 years ago. So this is personal. I know many people were sent from the United States, and there's international press from around the world. And I heard every single one of you voicing your support for Israel fervently, stridently. And I heard that, and I received that into my heart. And so on behalf of my family and people, I'm an American and an Israeli citizen, I say thank you.
So far, so good.
But it starts at home. And I'd like to ask any Democrat senator here that would like to speak to Rashida Tlaib. She still has a tweet up condemning Israel for a hospital attack. And
stop.
It's not a...
No.
It's a
Stop.
fair question, Senator Graham.
We are here together, not to talk about the problems at home, which are many.
It's a fair question,
I've got my
Senator.
own view of what to say. You're
But
not
say
going to
it.
screw this up.
I'm not trying to screw it
Get
up.
this guy out of here.
Now, does that sound like a Republican to you? Does that sound like a Republican to you? Does that sound like somebody who wants free speech? Get this guy out of here. Get this guy out of here. Now, I'm going to pull the rest of the video off. That is not, that's somebody, that's this war hawk over there. He's not been this upset since, you know, they didn't renew his subscription to Playgirl. But he's telling a report that he's asking security to remove a reporter because of his question about Rashida Tlaib, who is terrorist supporting in Congress. He can't handle it. Why is that? That's not somebody who should be representing any of us. That shouldn't be somebody who even claims to be a Republican. He doesn't even want to attack a Democrat. The Democrats are ready. They're always foaming at the mouth looking for something to go after us for. And Lindsey Graham, get this guy out of here. By the way, if you want to know what happens in the rest of the video, no security shows up to get rid of this guy. No one. And when they didn't, suddenly Ladybugs Graham goes, oh, I didn't mean it. I was just real emotional. He absolutely meant it. He would have stood there and watched a credible conservative journalist get hauled out of the room because he didn't like a question about a Democrat who was promoting Hamas. Now, is this guy there to support Israel? Doesn't sound like it. Is he there to be a conservative? Doesn't sound like it. It doesn't sound like it. Doesn't look like it. Actions speak louder than words. Lindsey Graham is not a Republican. I'm going to keep saying this over and over again. I say this on the radio all the time. I don't trust that man. He should not be in office. And I don't know what the people of South Carolina are doing and why they keep reelecting this guy. He gets to the bottom of it. He says he's going to write a harshly worded letter. He shows up on Hannity all the time. That's all he does. He's accomplished nothing in the last decade. And now he's yelling at reporters and trying to get rid of them because they question Democrats' actual support of terrorism. This is someone who claims to be a Republican. The current Republican Party, I will tell you this right now, between not impeaching Biden and garbage like that, the current and not electing Jim Jordan, I don't even know what happened with the Jim Jordan vote. The current Republican Party does not represent me. I would like to see anything from them that makes it look like they're actually trying to represent me or trying to represent conservatism. But it's just not happening. It's just not coming. It ain't coming. Again, I'm going to try to find some more videos here, but it's just not coming. And by the way, in case you want to check in on the prosecutor who is going after Trump in New York, Letitia James. Here's well, you be the judge if this is racist and sexist or not, this clip.
Up to an administration which is too male, too pale, and too stale. Too male, too pale, and too stale. Too male, too pale, and too stale.
Let me ask you this. If I led a chant, or if any other elected Republican led a chant about something being too black, too female, what would happen? What would happen? How quickly would that person be canceled? By the way, props to the guy next to her. Hold on. I want you to see this. I want you to take a really close look at the clown over in the right-hand corner of this video. This white guy who's pretending. Look at this. He's pretending. I wish I could zoom in a little bit more. I can't. Maybe I can. Nope, I can't. But the poor white guy over in the corner who supports her, who looks like he knows that this is racist and disgusting and all about him. He's just stuck there. This is the way Democrats are. And they'll keep voting the same way. Too pale, too stale. Leading a chant.
Too male, too pale, and too stale. Too male.
That's your person who's running a fair trial against Donald Trump right now? That's really, you believe that he's going to get a fair trial? You think he can get a fair trial anywhere? No. No. Can't. The Democrats are just targeting him because they know they can't beat him in the upcoming election. I just, again, it's a shame that Republicans don't fight back. It's a shame we don't do anything. There are so many elected Republicans everywhere, and I want to know who's doing something, anything at all. I want something at all from any of these people. I want to see something, anything. It's not coming. They would have done it by now. How many more things do Democrats have to do? How much more evidence do they need against Joe Biden? How much more disgusting pro-terrorism stuff do they need from like Rashida Tlaib and the squad? But one question about it, Lindsey Graham wants to throw them out. Honestly, I've begun to believe that the speaker stuff, even though it's a mess, is giving Republicans a way out, an excuse for why they aren't impeaching. Oh, we were busy with the speaker stuff. You promised it. You promised it. Just like they promised. Remember when they promised to repeal and replace Obamacare when Trump got in office? They had repealed and replaced it. They voted for that in the House, I think 50 some odd times before Trump took office. But when they had the option to actually repeal and replace and have a president sign off on it, they were like, oops, can't do it. The current Republican Party is all about fundraising, all about themselves, all about getting on Fox, all about keeping their power, and nothing about the people. Now, the question is, what are you going to do about it? And my solution is that you start going to your local Republican clubs and start replacing the people you don't like. You take your church group, you start getting these people voted out. I know you want people in Congress taken out, but the problem is this. It works up. Your nomination process works your way up. The reason Romney McDaniel is in office right now is because of state parties and state representatives voting her in. So if you want her replaced, you can't just have a Harmeet Dillon come out of nowhere, which is what she kind of did to run for Republican Party chair. You have to work your way up and take over your state parties. If you don't like what's happening in D.C., you got to start at home. Whether it be your city council, you want to run for dog catcher, you run for dog catcher. You want to run for mayor, you run for mayor. You want to run for school board, you run for school board, and you take over your local Republican parties. Because if they aren't representing you properly, it's time for them to go. Usually it's a bunch of old people and autists who are sitting around trying to make themselves feel important. And they do. They like being placated, and they like going to their cocktail parties and their upcoming Christmas parties. The Christmas party season's coming. So these people who all say they hate, say in Texas, they hate John Cornyn, they call him a rhino, they'll show up to a Christmas party and take their picture with him, get their free drinks, get a couple of cookies, go home, and allow America to continue burning in hell. It'll burn to the ground because they're busy taking their photos and getting the free cookies. It's time to change that. If you don't like where things are going, you got to start at home. You got to get your church groups, get your friend group together, get to know your neighbors, and go to your local Republican meetings, figure out where they are, and start replacing these people. Vote them out with your people and get better people in and work your way up the line. It's going to be a tedious, long process to fix this, but I believe that you can do it. It's the way to do it. It's the way to do it because the people who are nominating these people are there in your state. The reason that your representatives are sucking, and I mean, sure, you might be able to get somebody to run against them, but they're not going to get the money. They're not going to get the support. They're not going to get the infrastructure unless they have a lot of money already to replace your current representatives. You got to work your way up. And it sucks to say that because it's going to take years to fix this. But you got to start now. If you don't like what's happening in D.C., I mean, what's Ronna McDaniel done? Lost elections, given herself a raise, started a podcast. Sucks more than mine. Mine is great. That one sucks. You want to fix that? You go to your local Republican meeting and you start replacing those people with your friends and yourself. You run for city council. You run for school board. You work your way up. You find better candidates. and you replace everyone up the line, your RNC representatives, everything. Because if you start a third party, Democrats will win forever. Right now, third party plan ain't going to work. The money and the infrastructure is there, and it's so set in this country. It's so ingrained in this country that there are two parties. That's all we got. And again, people talk about term limits. You want term limits to fix things. Term limits won't fix things if you don't change the infrastructure on the state level and at your local level to get better people in the office to replace people if there are term limits. There's never going to be term limits, by the way. Nobody's voting. Nobody in Congress is going to vote by a majority to limit the amount that they'll work and how much they can make money. You notice all these people who are for term limits in Congress haven't resigned any time or haven't given up their re-elections. You know, they're not retired. If they wanted it, they would live it, and a lot of them don't live it. So that's where we are. It's up to you to fix this. Again, you saw Lindsey Graham. You heard about how they try to silence me. You see Letitia James. And you see what the Biden administration is doing with the border. None of this changes unless you start working. Sucks. It sucks. But it's up to you. It's up to me. It's why I'm using my voice to try to encourage you. You're no different than me. You're no different than these people in Congress, other than you're smarter and you can probably run a business and this country better than them. And if you believe that in your heart, time to go to your local meetings, your conservative, your local Republican meetings, and take them over. Take them over. Work your way up. That's the only way things change. Sorry to tell you that. The hero ain't coming. It's you. It's all you. That being said, I want to thank today's sponsor again, Cigars Direct, cigarsdirect.com. Listen, I'm going to need a cigar after this. I'm going to need a break. I'm going to need a booze after this. Well, after that one. We're going to have a good time. I'm going to be here every week. My name is Tim Young. Here, I can put it up on the screen. There you go. Look at that. My name is Tim Young. This is the Tim Runs His Mouth podcast here at American Greatness. I enjoyed being here. I hope you did too. I'm going to have more and more stuff. We're going to have some good guests. We're going to have a great time. I'm excited to be here with you. And until next time, I don't have a good closing statement. Sorry, I don't want to cackle like Kamala. Until next time, keep running your mouths on your own. And remember, Congress ain't coming to save you. Your local representatives probably aren't either. It's going to be up to you and your friends and your neighbors. Get together, organize, and start taking over everything you don't like. Run for office. Make a difference. I'll see you guys. American Greatness. Tim Runs His Mouth.